There are over 1,000 satellites that are imaging all of us every day. The vast majority of those satellites are defense and intelligence oriented, so they're not necessarily taking images over the areas of the world where we most need the data. It's very geopolitical. If we are going to, I think, do right by all of the pressing challenges we have to answer right now, we absolutely have to take advantage of satellites more than we have before. We can decide how to use that data.
Common Space's mission is to make data accessible as a public good to humanitarians, but really everyone that needs access to high-resolution optical imagery. We're removing that bottleneck for a ton of constituencies that currently do not have access so that they can do their jobs more effectively.
Whether that's about getting vaccines to the most vulnerable in the midst of a pandemic, preparing farmers for the next wave of pest or disease, finding an evacuation route from a disaster or from conflict, the user base is immense. The data from Common Space are going to be helpful across a crisis life cycle. Preparing for the crisis, responding and reacting in real time, but also recovering and hopefully recovering in a smarter, more resilient way.
In the current landscape, we do have open satellite imagery, but it's coarser resolution, where you can't see structures and pathways and roads, and it's often out of date. The problem is near real-time, very high-resolution imagery. It's super costly, and so there's this huge inequity of who is able to access the information and ultimately inform the decisions.
Common Space can provide imagery regardless of the whims of the commercial sector that's active today.
We can't always have people on site or in the field, so the view from above allows us to assess the situation much quicker at lower cost.
Institutions are also starting to line up behind the idea because they realize that it's not only a moral need, but the economics work out, where having a shared resource of this type actually lowers the cost for the community as a whole.
Common Space is a nonprofit, and that capacity to be able to rely on a non-commercial entity whose ethics are aligned with us is huge. We can task the satellite, work with the community to manage that data, analyze that data, turn it into advocacy programs. It's actually changing the power dynamic.
Something like this that would be free and openly available, I can see numerous partnerships that could be built from a tool like Common Space, just because it will be a very powerful, very comprehensive data set.
Data is one of the huge contributors into the quality of AI-based systems. And a more open and a higher quality data set could be incredible for helping us become better.
The people behind Common Space come from the satellite industry. These are not people who've come in from the outside with some pipe dreams. The solutions that I'm seeing that are being proposed by the Common Space team are pragmatic, are needed, and are really shaped by where the industry is today.
We've got about 1 billion people on the planet that are suffering from extreme poverty. There's always a gap of data, and this is where I see groups like Common Space being able to fill that gap and ultimately realize the potential that Earth observations have to help improve our world. We need to make that change.
It's about empowering humanitarians to do their jobs better, faster, and cheaper than they could do it before, and I'm excited about the role that Common Space can play in their work.